Bobby Moore and Sir Jeff Hurst, the Trevor Brooking and Billy Bonds, Paolo Di Canio, West Ham United. We celebrate our victories, we stick together in defeat. Proud of our history, West Ham United, more than just a podcast, more than just a podcast.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. This is more than just a podcast. It is season 12. It is episode 26. 3 episodes last week. But we're back. Is Moyes here? Is he sacked? We don't know. We're going to talk about it tonight. With me is John. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm at home talking to yous.
And we keep on the old tradition. We never have two Booches in the same podcast at the same time. They run a little bit of tag.
Is there really two of us? Who knows?
Is there really? Are they the same person? And it's just John putting on a younger voice. Or maybe John's not with us
and
anymore.
More intelligent.
And George puts on his dad voice. Who knows? And of course, back by popular demand, he's still sick. He wasn't here last week. But he's got off his... Oh, were you?
Well, I had to mute
you
myself
coughed
a lot.
through, yeah. So he's back by popular demand. He's got off his sick bed. He's still ill. It's Canning Town Lane. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm still in the lounge, still ill, still doing a podcast with you.
Okay. And last but not least, Nigel, a.k.a. Chef Man. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in my shed.
Are you really, though? Because it's like going to be -5 tonight.
Yeah, it's cold, isn't it?
Yeah. I've still got no
There's
eating.
snow in the Midlands.
I've got hot water. I haven't got eating. Tomorrow, I'll get.
That's unbelievable.
If you've got time later, I'll tell you the story, John. But I get in trouble for talking. I'll upset Len if I start talking about plumbing too early in the podcast. Anyway,
I'm going to try and be calm tonight.
All right,
I ain't happy.
We've had. I'm trying to remember how many games we've had. Is it 2 or 1?
What,
Since
since
last
the week?
Monday.
17.
No.
Or was it 19?
Since
I know
Monday.
we ain't won many.
Since Monday. We've only had the one game, haven't we?
Yeah.
One game.
Yes.
So we've only got one game to discuss, which was Wolves, which we lost, by the way. If spoiler alert, we lost 1-0.
Well, not much of a spoiler, was it? We all called it. Well,
John.
you didn't.
John, let's start with you this week.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Inevitable?
Wasn't it? It was just sort of there. Wasn't a lot of anything.
It wasn't, was it? Really?
No. I mean they huffed and puffed, we huffed and puffed, and they were better finishing than we were. I think our best chance was probably Sue Fowler run onto a ball, didn't he? And I think, Len, you said that what's his name would have buried that? I can't remember what you said.
Ray
Stewart, that's it.
Clang.
Oh, hang on, I have got that. Who did you say?
Ray
Stewart.
Stewart.
It's not a very good one, is it? It's like
I will work
spitting into a tin.
I know. I'll get a better clang for next week.
Yeah, and they scored a goal. Sort of Cresswell was in the middle of it, and
sloppy defended corner, says Declan Rice.
Yeah, it wasn't very well.
Games of very small margins, says David Moyes. We didn't play badly.
Well, they had a little.
He did. He said we didn't play badly. It wasn't a bad performance.
They had a little pea shoot session at the goal, didn't they? Hit the post and the crossbar. Yeah, no, I was watching it and didn't think we were going to win it at any stage. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so
there's not a long.
And there's no real redeeming.
Did you really think we were going to win it though? Did you start up and go, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do Wolves away from home"?
Look, there's so many things you thought he might try or change and whatever, and he just doesn't do it. And
didn't start Ben Rama.
Well, I think was it Ben Rama and Skamaka who are two top goal scorers of the season.
He did try to explain it.
He didn't
just put he didn't put Skamaka on because Skamaka was still recovering from a knock. Yeah. And it
might be right. Who knows? Do we know? Is that a fact?
Well, who
Could well
knows?
be.
In his mind. Who else did he leave on the bench? Well, obviously, it was good to see Zuma, unused substitute. I'm not sure if he's fit. People say if you're on the bench, you're either fit or you're not fit, right?
Look,
What's the point of putting Zuma on the bench and not even getting him to play a few minutes? What was the point of that?
we're on a really bad run. We're not doing very well at all. I would like the manager to try and mix it up a bit and have a go. And I would like to. People like Emerson must wonder why the hell we ever came there.
Emerson's pretty. I don't know. He hasn't shown a lot. I mean, the only one good thing I'd say is Kira was dropped finally to the bench.
Yeah, but Emerson is another player who's like, he's not rubbish, is he? He was Italy's left back in the Euro final. He's been passed around by Chelsea, but he was at Chelsea. He's highly regarded by the Chelsea fans I know. So he's not rubbish. And when you've got like Creswell, who's not in form, you'd think he would change it about.
Yeah.
And that's what when I look at when you see the team sheet and then the opposition, and you just think, well, it's going to be more of the same, and that's what you get, isn't it? That's what we've had.
Ariola's still out. Bit of a sensitive subject.
What's happened to him?
He did his hip in training. So, so Randolph was on the bench.
Yeah, I see that.
Let's move over to Len. Souček started, replaced after 60 minutes with Benny. Fornell started, replaced on 76 minutes with Scamacca.
Yeah. Keeps the old tradition up that we don't attack till after the hour.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, look, he had Zuma on the bench, Johnson, Scamacca he brought on, Downs, Kira, Emerson, Randolph. So maybe not a lot of choices in attacking. Could he have started? I mean, the obvious one is Benny. Could he have started differently? Could he have brought on different players to change it when we were chasing the game?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course he can. What always puzzles me is, regardless of the opposition, we always start with Souček and Rice, defensive players in the midfield, when we could. Well, that can't be that really can't be the case all the time, can it? Surely there must be times. I just don't understand. You got to play clinically perfect football to want to think it's a good idea to defend for over an hour, not make a mistake, and then give yourself 25 minutes to get a goal at the end. It doesn't make any sense to me. And regardless of the opposition, he does that. Now, that was the 6 out of 10 Wolves that we played weekend.
Yeah, agreed.
They weren't very good.
Yeah, they're low on confidence there.
Yeah. It's...
Who'd you blame for the goal?
We could have easily beaten them.
Sloppy defended corner. Who's your...
Well, it doesn't... Listen, regardless of the mistakes that we made, well finished. The boy finished it well. But
what's his name? Podence. What's his name? I can't remember. What's the guy who scored the goal? Nigel?
I can't remember.
Sorry?
What's the guy who scored the goal?
Prudence, wasn't it?
All right, okay.
But of course, the goals win games, but what lost the game is that
goals are fun.
It sounded like quite a bad atmosphere there that we didn't take advantage of. We put them under the cosh. I think they could have turned on it, and Moyes throws that away, that advantage away.
Well, funny you should say that. Little stat attack for you. Although they had the possession, they were at home, 59% to 41. They had 17 shots, 4 on target. We had 16 shots, 4 on target. So, shots very similar. They had 4 corners to our 3. So, apart from possession, you'd say pretty even.
Or apart from just watching the game and the performance.
Well, yeah, and I don't think, I forget how many of those shots on target came in the...
Poor performance then, was it?
Well, I didn't think it was one of our greatest performances, no. Did you think it was a good performance then, Nigel?
I'll wait till everybody else is finished.
All right, well, let's finish with Len and let's go to...
There's nothing else for me to say. I didn't think it was a performance there at all. So you
Okay.
might as well go over to Nigel now and see what he's got to say.
Alright, so if you saw something that none of us else saw,
Well, I only saw the second half in full. So,
I thought, oh, that's a point. Point of order, gents. You told me you were out all day and you weren't going to watch the game. So how
Yeah.
come you watched the game?
because I got back. Where I was is not for on-air discussion.
All
I
right,
can tell you
okay.
off air, but
Okay.
it's a personal matter.
Yeah.
So I got back. I was pleased to get the game on and see it was 0-0. Because
Oh yeah. So you just joined just as they scored.
yeah, I did. Yeah, so I literally at half time watched a few adverts and they switched to the ground, 0-0, tight first half. Let's go, and then interesting 2 minutes seemed to be majority of West Ham attacking. We get a corner. I mean, they don't even. The frustrating thing about the goal is they don't get a break on us. It ain't when you say it's a breakaway goal. What they've done is they've carried the ball from their half and scored. We always had the same amount of people or more people back than they had running forward. Whether it was people out of position or what, I think Creswell. I've heard it called a deflection off of him, half-hearted attempt to stick the ball his foot out. Sometimes, I suppose it is the split instant. Sometimes it's better not to do that because there's people there that will clear it. Unfortunately, there was people there that would have cleared it. He stuck his foot out and it just bobbled lovely for. Sorry, someone's calling me. It bobbled lovely for him to
Score.
smash the ball home. Yeah,
Yeah,
from the edge
no,
of the area.
yeah.
I don't think there's a lot Fabianski could have done with it. Well, obviously there is. He could have saved it, but it was a good, well-struck shot. Wolves go 1-0 up, and then I'm thinking, well, look, the good thing is it's early in the second half. There's still loads of time. If you ignore, and I know it's a big if, and in a way you can't do that. But the reason I say it is because when you listen to what David Moyes says after the game, I sort of get what he's saying. So if you take this game as an individual one-off game, ignoring what's gone before, ignoring everything else, and look at that game, and if you'd turned up after watching West Ham win 2 out of the last 3 or 4 games and went to that game, you wouldn't be too disappointed with the performance that I saw in the second half. The problem is, and when I say the performance, I mean we had a lot of the ball. We did well away until we got to the final third. And then nothing.
Did you think at any time we were going to score a goal? Did it look like at
As
any
the
time?
half went on, despite how much ball we had, you could see it just weren't going to happen. So
Don't you think that should be addressed? Or?
Oh yeah, I do actually, and you know, I've tweeted a few things out yesterday, sort of trying to highlight what is the problem, because I see these tweets from random people and they're saying, right, next week we've got to change Areola, Creswell, we've got to change Ogbonna, and we've got to change Kufal, yeah, all defenders. But actually, when you look at it, we've conceded 25 goals in 19 games. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. The problem ain't, and I think I said there's 12 teams that have conceded more than us and 2 that have also conceded 25.
Yeah, but people like Creswell are bang out of form, aren't they?
Well, I don't think he is bang out of form. Yeah, but the problem with West Ham is when we concede the first goal, because of how crap we are up front, it's like it sucks the life out of the team, and going behind now it's almost like they're resigned that they're not going to win. Wolves dug deep. We had, as I say, we had plenty of the ball and attacking intent. Antonio even needs to figure out he's got to change the way he plays. He ain't 30 or 31 no more. He ain't the Antonio of 2 years ago. He's got to realise that. He ain't got the pace now to be able to run through people like he used to.
He used to bundle through people.
Yeah,
He never.
but and now that ain't coming off, and he looks bang ordinary. For me, the big player for me out of form is Bowen.
Yeah.
I've seen nothing from him at all.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
not others. And this is the thing. I feel a bit for Ben Rama, and in a way perhaps for Fornals as well. Fornals is a busy bee, and you will get effort. But Bowen, and this is the thing. People
Do you think
keep
he's too
looking
happy
at
with Danny
Suchek.
Dyer and she's taking it out of him, wearing him out?
No, I don't even consider that. He's not playing football that he was. If the World Cup was played in the summer, he'd have gone to the World Cup. And the thing is, you would have hoped the fact he didn't go to the World Cup when they took James Maddison would have kicked him up the arse, and it ain't. It's like it's almost like he's sunk into some type of football depression, and he can't get out of it.
But it's like that throughout the club, though, isn't it? I mean, that's how it looks.
Actually,
But going forward, for me, is the problem, and the fact, and this is one thing that will frustrate me, but it frustrates about a lot of clubs. For me, the transfer window in January should be 1 week, because that's when you do your deals. Having it for a month, and while we just sit and wait for 3 weeks, when you could get a forward player in, and it happened in 2003. We didn't bring anyone in till the last week of January, and the form kick-started again, I think, by the end of February. By then, too late. We nearly got away with it, but we didn't. And history really is repeating itself. That was one of my best tweets yesterday, where I pointed out that in 2002, we had the young English starlet playing for us, and he captained us into 2003 when we went down. And then this season, we've got the young English star captaining us 20 years later. I don't fear relegation. I think it's on the cards. I think by crook we'll get out of it, though. I do.
Maybe change the manager, which
But
we're going to talk
back to the
about.
Wolves game quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I understand what Moyes said. He goes out there and he can't slag the players off publicly. You can't do that. You can't do that and expect them to go out and be able to play for you, because that would be the nail. The minute he starts slagging players off, that's a nail in his coffin, not the players. So he can't do that. And I understand when he says the performance. He did say that it was up front is the problem, but this is what he's got to sort out. But Dave, you've got to look at yourself, because the most forward-thinking player we've got, like it or not, is Ben Rama.
Can I just read you what he says?
don't like it.
He said, you're under pressure in all the games. Today was a big game, and it was really tight. There isn't much in them. We've got to try and change that 1-0 defeat into a 1-0 win if we can. It wasn't a hugely bad performance today.
No.
It was we didn't play that well.
But it's...
hang on, let me finish.
All right.
That we'd found this year... That we found this year and is... that doesn't make any sense.
Did you write it?
No, it's from Sky. And it says, basically it says, we're not able to get the goals. We've probably made enough chances to do so, but we haven't got the goals. We've got done by a counter-attack from a corner, which is really disappointing. That's what he's told Sky.
Yeah. No, but and this is the thing. People slag him off for saying that and whatever. But if you ignore everything else and you look at that game as a single game, that's basically what happened. The only thing with football is you can't.
What you miss is the first half, and all I'll say, just one instance on the first half. The first half, like two shit teams playing each other, neither of them want to win it. The only one thing, and the other two can say about the first half, was Soufal. Soufal had a goal-bound shot, cleared away, I think, off the line.
I think we can dispute whether it was goal-bound or not, actually, but it was towards the goal.
It was towards the goal, and it was cleared. It was cleared before. You're right. It was.
Yeah.
It was,
I don't even think it was going in.
But that was the one. That was the one
But he's not a
chance in the
striker,
first
but he's
half.
not- but
was there any
he-
others, John? And
I
Glenn?
don't think so.
I don't.
If you're
I think
relying
that
on
was the only one.
Kufal though to score your goal,
Yeah, I
It
know.
It
It
was.
was a shit first half. I promise you. You saw the
yeah,
better half.
it was uninspiring, and you just couldn't see a goal coming for the life of me.
Yeah.
Nothing's. God, sorry, John.
Go on. It's all right, go on.
But going back, this is we're all skirting around the fact that he can say there's nothing in it, but he's supposed to engineer something. That's his job. The reason why there's nothing in it because he plays a style of football that tries to snuff out their attacks and doesn't attack himself. So yes, there is nothing in it, but time is getting on in the season where you've got to create things because we're down the bottom for a reason. And we deserve to be down the bottom because we don't engineer anything. A game was painted today, and a game came on to YouTube. It was the 1986 season, the Man United game. It was
What one?
non-stop end-to-end stuff, open as you like.
what one?
I think it was the second one that was played on the Sunday
Old Trafford.
afternoon. No, it was at Upton Park because Man United were in
the league game.
Yeah,
not the
Brian
cup
Robson
game.
takes a lead.
Yeah.
We're so open that when I looked up, I didn't know who was defending and who was attacking. It was fantastic. That was a football engineered to sort of to have lots of incidents and to go for it. We don't play like that. So
No, it does look like tactics of fear.
yeah, it is.
But-
It's the whole club has a philosophy of hope. They just hope it turns. They've got no planning. They got no.
Hang on a minute. Come on.
Come on, well, ask me then, and I'll defend it.
No, I'm just saying. Haven't the players got? This can't just.
Yeah,
be
they
about
have,
noise.
but
They've got to
listen.
stand up.
But what do you want to do? You're right. The players have to stand up. But going back to, if you go back to Bowen's bad form, he is in bad form. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you take the good form of, let's say last season and the season before, if you take the good form of Bowen out and the set pieces out, there's nothing in there either. So it's a whole philosophy that he hasn't done. It wound me up today, Martin Keown talking about this, that and the other. We had our philosophy was the set pieces and counter-attack. We had a once-in-a-lifetime loan signing with Lingard, who was fantastic. Probably better off not bringing him back, but right part at the right time that made us a counter-attacking team. We're not doing that anymore. The players do have a lot to answer for, but these are the players that are getting picked as well. He's got a lot to answer for picking them. Creswell should have been kind of, well, I say Creswell should have been replaced a couple of years ago, but David Moyes has bought a replacement and obviously doesn't fancy him. Whether he's his replacement or not, I don't know. But you can't keep playing the old guard like him and Creswell. This is what I gave him the...
Do you know what Creswell needs? Honestly, he needs another player in front of him. You either play, instead of playing this three up front, you have a proper wide man that would protect him. And that's the thing. He had, in a way, 4 nails. Yeah, and I think he was exposed more when Ben Rama. But when you put Ben Rama on the left, that's going to expose Creswell even more because he's got no one in front of him. Ben Rama, Creswell used to look really good when he had Masuaku in front of him, or he was tucked in as the left side of a 3. I think you're right. I think his days as a left back.
Everyone has their time, don't they?
Yeah, no, and
So
and
why
I
is the
think
pressure constantly on the
that's
boy?
what I think Antonio.
Exactly.
Is the problem with Antonio. He's failing to realise he's knocking 33 now, which for a striker that plays the way he does, that's a downwards.
But
He's got to rely on physical performance.
You can say that about like Souček as well. He's been so out of form, and yet
I don't,
gets picked and picked
but
and
Souček
picked.
plays a different. Souček's role is a defensive midfielder to sit there and whatever. So actually, you can get away with. I don't think
But
he's
he
played that
gives
bad.
the ball away so much.
Well,
He's
yeah.
you know,
But when
the-
you got Declan Rice next year, who never seems to give the ball away.
It makes you wonder why he's playing there next to him.
But see, this is the thing. That's where the manager steps into it. I'm not saying like, take these players out of the firing line, make them fight for their place, and get someone else in there.
Well, yeah. Look, I'm not saying Moyes ain't got things to answer for because he has. Because at the end of the day, when you've only got one win in, was it 8 games? Not 1 point in 8 games. I think it is. When you're at that stage, and even when a manager starts acknowledging it's a poor run, that's almost a catastrophic run. When a manager starts admitting it's a poor run, because they never admit anything, because they don't want to sound defeatist. But as soon as they start admitting that it's a poor run and everybody can see it, so he can't screw around the fact, then it's only right that we get to be able to look at him and go, but Dave, you're the man. And this is the thing, while I will defend him in his position as West Ham manager, he is the person, at the end of the day, the buck does stop with him, because when he keeps picking the same, and when you got a player like Ben Rama, who comes off a bench like he did against Brentford and does that, and he came off the bench, didn't he, against Leeds and have a fantastic game. What has he got to do to start a game? Why is he only coming on with half hour to go? And to be fair, Ben Rama wasn't that great when he came on, his delivery and whatever. But I maintain Ben Rama should not be playing out wide, especially with his shooting ability that he's got when he's in for a goal. If he'd been on the end of the chances that Declan Rice was having in the second half, I think we might have got something.
I was going to ask that. I thought the only difference that the manager could play is either start Ben Rama or play a different formation. So that's a good question. Do you think a formation would have made the difference against Wolves?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so in that case, what you're suggesting, even though you watched only half the game, the manager is culpable.
No, I just said to you that at the end of the day, the buck stops with Moyes, because he's the man that puts the players out. So when he can stand there and go, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, and everything. When it's been that long, 1 point out of 23 or 4, whatever it is, and he starts admitting, no, it's a poor run, that means, as I said, it's a catastrophic run.
Well, he started saying words like, I'm not daft, I'm not stupid, of course I know what it means.
So, right, that's good. So then. Prove it then.
Let's put this one to bed. So last question I'm going to ask, let's put it to bed.
Please put it to bed.
The other two have been really clear. It's time for Moyes to go. Has anything changed after the Wolves game for you?
But
no, just a yes or no.
Well, no, but my point of view is not about should he stay, should he go. It's up to the owners to do a job.
So
I was asked the question at the weekend, if I was the owner, would I pull the trigger? And I said, I probably would.
Yeah. Okay.
I just say, on a positive note, even though I said I could take none earlier, I think a Gerd is going to be a really good player.
Just not for us, yeah.
We
get relegated.
But we haven't seen a lot.
As well.
We haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah, the only thing is, as well, and people don't, and I will keep saying it because people don't seem to see the concertina of the amount of teams this season.
Couldn't care less.
There, you say that, and
I do. I mean it.
It does. Yeah, no, I know, but it does. You can see that the hierarchy could look at that and go, well, at the end of the day, who's going to get sacked? You sack a manager down there. Some managers, obviously, it don't help that Villa and, funny enough, Wolves, have brought in two managers that actually would, no one would object to.
Two managers that if you suggested we would get them on Twitter, everyone would say, don't be daft. We're not getting them.
Well, I don't know about that. I think, if anything, I'm more surprised at Lopetegui going to Wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
Than I am Emery going to Villa.
Well, you suggest names of that stature, you get told, well, all you're going to get is Dyche.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't get it.
Let's talk about the Manchester situation. So, up to last week on Monday, I was saying, the news from the club is we desperately don't want to change. He's got credit in the bank. We hope he can turn things around. So the language has changed. The message over the weekend after the Wolves was, we desperately don't want to change the manager. However, we may be forced to act. These results can't continue. Is the basic message, and that is sort of, there's been a frenzy, what I call it, and of how long he's got. Now, I went out on a limb. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That he won't go before the Everton game. I think there is a tribute to David Gold. I think David Moyes is going to be make a part from that. It's a big deal. He was close to, I think, Gold's family, and he's with Leslie, etc. I hear that, you know, it might be slightly disrespectful to do anything before the Everton game. Whether he still remains win, lose or draw, I don't know. Maybe a win can save him for another game. I don't think a draw or a loss would be enough to save him. But without a doubt, he's on extremely thin ice and unlikely to survive the season. But you never know. He could win every single game for and survive, but unlikely, obviously. Now, an article. There's been a couple of news stories. One of them I haven't taken. Somebody called Ross on Twitter who said, you know, that he's an Everton fan, but he's a son of a football agent. I don't know who he is, but he's supposed to be some ITK. And he said Sean Dyche, or I think his name is Domenico Tedesco, is he the ex-manager of Red Bull Leipzig, are in the frame, and the decision's already been made to sack Moyes. Well, clubs say that's news to them. I know the ITK, I don't know what his name is, on KUMB also said there was an emergency board
East Village.
meeting. Yes, it said there was an emergency board meeting. Again, the club went, news to them. You know, there was no emergency board meeting. That's been trotted out a few times, so I'm not saying by the same source, but it's been trotted out too. It's not how it works, right? So the most credible one, you know, Jason Burt in the Telegraph and Matty Law do have contacts. They know their sources, and they don't tend to trot out tripe. They also say he won't be sacked to at least Everton, and it's a must-win game. And the two names they put in the frame are Nuno and Rafa Benitez. I think Nuno's in a job, isn't he? After he was the Wolves manager and then Spurs. Where is he now? Isn't he in a job somewhere? Saudi Arabia or something?
I don't know.
I'll look it up, Sean. You keep talking. You keep speeding for the club.
And Rafa Benitez, I think, is out of a job, and that seems.
Wonder why that is.
That seems, and they're talking about as a caretaker manager now. Mark,
Yeah.
Mark,
He had.
Mark Noble. Oh right, okay. Mark Noble could, you know, we looked this up and I shared this with Nigel. Mark Noble could be a caretaker manager for up to 12 weeks. You don't need, if you're a caretaker manager, you don't need a UEFA Pro license.
Why would we want a
I
caretaker
don't know,
manager?
but the romantic view of some of the fans would let Mark Noble take over.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, why would we want a caretaker manager? Why would they not get
Well, you
a
want a
proper
6 month.
replacement?
Well, I think they would say. So what I've been told is there's no good available managers available. I'm telling you, you know this. You're bribing me because you know I've already told you. There's no good, and the only ones are a risk. And one of the ones that is a risk that I know they admire, but they see as a big risk, is the West Brom guy, the Spanish coach.
Calderon.
Yeah.
Bielsa's deputy.
He's done really well at West Brom, but what they say is, but it'll be a massive
Won
risk.
10 out of 11.
Can he? Yeah, he has. Can he make the jump up to the Premier League? You know, is it out of the frying pan into the fire? I don't know. I don't know enough about him. You know, it could be a bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why would you fancy a manager like that then if you think it's a risk?
Well,
who would they?
There's not a lot of people available that have.
Well, why do Brighton and everyone else?
It's got to be a cultural fit, though, hasn't it, Len?
Well, it's not going to be some foreign guy from a different division, is it? How's that a cultural fit?
Well, I'm
He
just.
just
telling-
comes with you with bullshit, Sean. That's what the problem
I'm
is.
just a messenger, mate.
Yeah,
just a
and you
messenger.
swallow it. Get the disgorger. Sean swallowed the old look again.
But why
There's
would they?
loads of
Look, the story came out in the Sun first. He doesn't. Whoever the person is, doesn't come out and go, "Oh, look, there's some information." A story gets printed in the Sun, right? Actually picked up by the Birmingham Mail, and then you put something on a senior source and go, "Is that true?" And it might be, "Well, we admire him, but he's a bit of a risk, right?" So that doesn't mean he's top of the list.
Why?
It
But
means-
do you think they genuinely have any like real ambition and aspiration of who they'd actually try and attract?
I think.
Do they
that-
think they run around with some kind of inferiority complex,
I don't
or
know, John.
are not
I
willing to
think-
pay
I think,
money
believe it
or
or
whatever?
not, the death of David Gold has hit a lot of the directors for 6, and we all weren't,
Well,
friends
that's not
with
how
David.
you passed that on to us.
Well,
when-
no, but there
Yeah.
are. Well, that's not quite true, and I'm not going to go into details. But it was still a shock to a lot of people, and there is.
Well,
a
it
lot
shouldn't
of
have been.
mourning.
Should
Well,
it really?
I know it
He's
shouldn't have been, but
he's been ill for.
he has
ever.
been ill for a long time. But it still came as a shock because they thought, it would turn it around, and there's a big thing planned for Saturday.
Okay, so but we were talking about sort of thinking they should do a change before the World
maybe
Cup.
and maybe
So
it
were they
should.
not-
With hindsight's a wonderful thing, John. And you know what?
It's not
Well, no, it
hindsight,
is.
is it?
But
It's
it
not
should have done.
hindsight.
No,
When
no,
you
it is
say,
hindsight
look,
now.
it's so frustrating, honest.
So what's your Sean? What's your when you talk to him about this? What's his response to why as an owner of a football club, why haven't you got anyone in mind that you like the look of? Because he don't seem to.
Well, maybe he has, and he's not going to tell us. Why undermine? Right, it's all well and good, leak him, but why undermine the manager? Why would you?
'Cause he's
Well,
losing.
It's a very.
It's not
small
undermining
industry.
the manager. It's having the
If you
foresight.
have
It's having a plan in place. You should know who you want to
I
fancy.
know, but you might have it in your mind, but you don't sit down or have a chat with, I don't know, Pochettino and talk to his representatives, etc. It's all well and good.
But you should do, shouldn't
Until-
you?
Yeah, of course
Well, no,
you
you
should.
don't- well, you
Why don't you?
Because it's constructive dismissal.
No, but
If you're
it doesn't
talking to
happen like that,
managers-
though, does it?
If you're talking to managers,
You don't talk to him, do you? Salty talks to him.
well, that's we don't talk our sausage made on this podcast.
Well, but that's the industry of
No,
football,
of course
isn't
it
it?
is. We all
That's
know.
how it's like the standard
It's-
constructive
but
dismissal claim,
there's no
isn't
secrets in football.
relevant
And whether
to-
Salthouse or Silky or whoever else is in Dimitri, word gets out on the street, and I'm sure it's no. Why are they talking about Rafa Benitez? Where's that name suddenly come from?
Well, because
Because he knows
he's
him. He's already got his
available,
number.
he's cheap, and he would probably come. It's just I find it extremely frustrating where everyone says you're never going to get a quality manager, and you think, well,
Well, maybe it's
God,
a
you
short.
know,
What happens
you-
if it's a short caretaker to
I mean,
the summer?
Lopetegui's a quality manager.
What
He's
happens
at
if you
Wolves.
get a quality manager in the summer rather than
Why?
January?
Why wait till the summer?
Because
I don't get it.
Understand?
Well,
He's still
because
clueless in the
Who
summer.
would you get? Who's going to come? Definitely.
I don't
Who's a
know.
quality
It's not
manager?
our job to
I don't know.
choose. Why hasn't he got a procession plan? Because he has a procession plan when it comes to the birdies shagging. He knows who's
Oh,
going
that's
to.
a bit hard.
Well, he does, doesn't he? I mean, he was with that bird for
You
long
said
enough.
you were gonna
Suddenly,
stay-
Aldan
you said-
Peter's turned
Hang
up.
on, you said you're going to stay calm. Try and keep
Well,
calm.
it makes me. You do swallow the hook at times. Move on. That's your last point of it, I believe.
So, all I'll say is, right, the betting frenzy tonight. Let me tell you a little bit of the betting frenzy. I know Betway have suspended betting on him the next man should be sacked. I know Rafa Benitez is like 10 to 11 favourite, right? And on other betting, David Moyes is 1 to 5 to be sacked, and Frank Lampard is an incredible 5 to 1. However, you and I know this is novelty bets only. The maximum you can usually bet on these markets is 25 quid. And when Betway say they've taken some big bets, the maximum they've taken is probably 25 quid a punter and maybe 20 bets. And suddenly it makes them, there's a little bit of free publicity by us, they know the story. Suspending betting gets Betway retweeted, Betfair all the way through.
Oh yes, picked up.
Yeah, so
I mean, just to sum this up, this
it's
situation.
just bollocks. I don't just to say, right? I've talked to the club tonight. News to them: Moyes has not been sacked. He's not being sacked tonight.
Took training,
I don't believe he's gonna. Yeah, he did do training today. I don't think he's going to be sacked tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be sacked the next day or the next day.
Right.
I don't
let's
think he'll be
finish
sacked.
on this.
He'll play. He'll lead them out for the game. What happens after the game, I can't guarantee.
Right.
But I think he'll still be there.
So
for
you
Everton.
ever want to sum up the fan base? I've just gone onto Twitter.
Yeah.
First 2 tweets on my timeline.
Go on.
First one.
Is that your followers or
Dan, no, this is
news
people
for
I
you
follow.
or whatever?
No, this is people I follow. Yeah?
That new Twitter, mate, is doing my head in.
I know, because you're normally reading yesterday's tweet.
Awful.
So anyway, so Dan, is it Dan Lawless, I think his name,
Yeah.
on West Ham Fan TV.
Yeah.
He says, I really hope this Rafa news isn't true. I want Moyes gone, but what's the point if we just get in another negative manager? Yeah? Directly underneath that is our friend Nick from Carrot and Booze. And I do love Nick, I do. Benitez will win us the European Conference League and keep us in the league. If it happens, it's a superb temporary appointment. I believe this story because if they have approached Rafa, he will demand the Everton fixture. And you're thinking, and this is where West Ham are. The only thing those two do agree on is that they probably both want Moyes gone. But even when you throw out the story of Rafa, then you get one going, oh my fucking God, we can't be doing that. That's worse than Moyes. And then you get another one who thinks he's the new Messiah.
But that's just football fans.
It just
It's
makes me chuckle,
always.
when you get one directly underneath the other.
I just think we've got a lot more going for us than people think.
Do you know what? While we're talking about bookies, Nigel's friend Andy, who designed 6'2" website, forget his second name. What's his name?
Don't worry about his name.
All right, Andy Hammer.
AD Hammer on Twitter.
He put up a Sky Bet relegation
odds.
odds.
It's interesting. Yeah.
And this is today. West Ham are 1, 2, 3,
4 to
4,
1.
5, 6, 7, 8 favourite to be relegated. Bournemouth 2 to 7, Everton 8 to 11, Southampton 5 to 6. So they're all odds on. Then Nottingham Forest 2 to 1, Wolves 5 to 2, Leeds 7 to 2, Leicester 7 to 2, and then finally West Ham at 4 to 1. So, if you want to take betting, let's take it both ways, right? You can't have it all. And the reason is, again, this market as well is a novelty bet. No real betting goes on these kind of relegation or next manager, etc.
So what are you thinking then, Sean? You thinking let's
what
are you thinking? Let's carry on with Moyes and see what happens.
I think he's gone. He's a dead man walking, right? And he's gone at the next defeat.
I don't want to say that. Just from the days before.
All right,
the gold.
I know. I do think
if anyone cornered the market in dead man walking, it was David Gold.
If he loses on Saturday, I think he's gone. If he wins on Saturday but loses the next game, have you seen our running?
But that's a way that for me. Then if that does happen, I then think, well, what's the fucking point? Why didn't you get rid of him after Brentford?
So, all right, let's talk about what we did earlier.
Go because that
what happens if he wins on Saturday and then he's sacked?
What? Well, again, should have sacked him at Brentford. Should have sacked him at Brentford then. If that's the way they want to run the club, we know what we think of them, innit? I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm not, but it just reinforces.
There you go. Look,
what a big complete bunch of whatever they are.
John T. Coleman is still saying the same. He gets briefed by the club, who's the West Ham reporter. He's in the press room all the time, very close to the club. Understand.
How can we have a journalist called John T. following West Ham?
Understand that despite the talk of Rafa Benitez replacing David Moyes is wide at the mark at this stage, Moyes will still be set to be in the dugout on Saturday, and that is what the club are briefing. He will still be in the dugout.
There just must be the way that the whole club and the players seem. It must be a whole level of just discontent in that dressing room.
It might be,
And,
and I think
he's this
likely to be his last game.
Yeah, from the Dawson, the stories we're getting that Dawson wants out, Antonio wants out, Johnson wants out.
Dawson's another issue, which is a separate personal issue that he wants out, and
but if you want to dress him,
by the way, just a little bit of transfer news. We are looking at centre backs, and maybe it's not just David Moyes looking at them, and they're looking at a centre. I don't think there's a particular one, and also for a striker, and there's multiple bids as well as the Moffy guy. There are multiple bids into strikers. They want a centre back, they want a striker, and
is Antonio likely to go?
He's been told no, not unless they get someone in of any ilk. He's told to do one.
Because
it's a bit more trickier with.
If it wasn't for his loyalty to Moyes' loyalty to him, we might have got Alvarez.
Well, that's a really great link. Obviously, very strange interview. Or time to do an interview.
It's a good
I haven't
podcast.
actually heard it myself. I've just seen the quote, so I will. I just haven't had time to watch it.
You ain't
yet.
even heard it yet.
Not myself. No.
What, all the chat shit you've been
I
fucking
know.
banging out.
I've only.
And you ain't even listened to it.
No, listen. Right. I published a story by George on 6'2", based on him watching it. It's his opinion. Very clearly says that. I don't.
He also said that weren't his headline.
I know it's my headline, but his words. You're right. I did choose the headline. That's what I do. I'm sub-editor. Anyway, who has watched it that can actually tell us?
Yeah, I watched it.
What do you make out of it? George says, I
listened to an hour of it.
Why are you going to tell us about? He sounds like he doesn't care. And almost it was akin to a resignation speech. Like, he doesn't care whether he gets sacked. That's part of the job. And why would he tell people that he nearly signed a World Cup striker, but he didn't because Mikel Antonio was better and the only striker? It makes no sense. Beyond it's interesting to non-West Ham fans. It just winds West Ham fans up. It can't be for a West Ham audience, can it?
That's what the problem I have with all these things. Something that I don't like about our club is the narrative is put to non-West Ham fans and not directed to the West Ham fans. So they're very quick to put it out to the Jim Whites and stuff about what they think about things, their plans, and actually what we see today with Monkey Ed, what's his name, Keown, what they think about the fans, what people think about the fans. Coming back on us again. So you're right. All these things, there's never a podcast. The time is strange that a club this is going to be talked about in TalkSport tomorrow morning apparently. The timing's strange because is the manager in trouble and he's talking about things just to the general ether he's got to give explanations, one to his employers, two to the fans. Whether you think that's the same thing or not, I don't really. It's down to opinion, not to all sundry. There's things I really. It's difficult to criticise David Moyes because when someone asks you questions like this fella does in an interview, what you're suggesting was actually a question: do you fear the sack? So he hasn't come out in the context of saying I don't fear the sack, showing bravado. He's asked, do you fear the sack? And really, this guy he's a Man United fan apparently. He was more interested in Man United. But what this guy needs to understand is when they're talking about Sir Alex Ferguson, as they've done in 30% of the interview, is also going back to Moyes and saying, following your success at Everton. And I would say, what success? Now that's down to whatever you perceive success is. When you're talking about Alex Ferguson in the same role, a guy that had the same background as David Moyes, I would say no fucking success at all. And this is the problem I have with these podcasts. He's there to blow his own trumpet, to say his things there, and you're just rubbing people up the wrong way. It's what it comes down to. The punter pays their money and they're not happy. Right, so we don't want to hear about your winning mentality, this, that, or the other, what you perceive as success, your psyche and that. You're a fucking has-been, mate. You got all your fucking I don't know how long to do interviews like this, because he even admitted himself his time's running short. You could have waited a week, because no one's going to employ you again. You do as many of these interviews as you like. Do me a favour, mate. Get me fucking team out of the shit, because you're doing nothing. Just don't get on some fucking sod's podcast. Well, that's what's giving me the arsehole. Amongst other things today, I didn't like the fucking TalkSport thing. Talking to geezers, one of our followers, by the way. You know, one of our Twitter followers. The fella Simon, he fucking murdered Marty Keown. The geezers there, Marty Keown, and what's worse, the cameras there where you can watch it on TalkSport. Clear as a bell, Keown don't even watch West Ham. It's just the ex-players club. I'm going to stick up for Moyes, as everyone does. There's no point of it. I know that TalkSport bait people. People there have told me they do it. But when it's the ex-players, no one would say, sack Moyes. You're fucking having a laugh. What better, situation is there of a manager needing sacking than David Moyes right now? There isn't one. And I'm not one of these ones, thank you for what we've had, the times done, Moyes. Thank you for fucking nothing. Because as a football fan, I don't owe gratitude to anyone at that club for anything. So just go. No thank you, thanks for everything. Just piss off, right? We're getting the next guy in. Because that's what football is. Because you're all self-serving wankers. That's why you become a footballer in the first place. You're so consumed in yourself, that's what you need to make it. And I should know because I know enough. Give me the fucking clang and pass me over to Nigel.
Where's his clang?
Yeah, I was sorry, the clang.
Thank you.
Nigel. It's going to be hard to top that, mate, isn't it? Nice one. Podcast gold.
Do you know, my WhatsApp, I've been busy today. My WhatsApp sort of exploded with this podcast. So I've heard an hour of it in between talking about a really interesting West Ham thing with someone else. So the hour I've listened to, I don't see a problem with him doing it, for a start. I find it a strange podcast, because is it called something about the CEO? Like, obviously the geezer's like a business bloke, whoever he is.
Yeah. And they've previously done Brady on the same series, by the way.
I was not bound to catch that, are they?
Yeah.
So whoever this geezer, well, it's obviously set up. So whoever this geezer is, he sounds a bit young. I don't know if he's like, I don't know. The bloke.
He's a Dragon's Den.
Oh, is he? I don't watch Dragon's Den. What's he do
He's
on there?
Dragon. He's a dragon.
Is he?
I don't.
See, I listened to it. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what he looks like. I put the video on, and someone WhatsApped it.
I've listened to it. I listen to his podcast every now and again. He has good people.
So it's interesting enough that he's trying to get a business angle with it. He's obviously a Man United fan because he says that, so he talks a lot about Man United. Well, then if he's a Man United fan, he's going to want to know what happened about United. The one thing I find about it, I think actually Moyes comes off across as a decent player. In a way, I can understand what he says about wanting to change West Ham and the culture of West Ham. The culture of West Ham is ultimately failure, and that is the culture of West Ham. We're the biggest club, I don't know about in the world, but we're definitely the biggest club in Europe to have never won the league title of the country it plays in.
Are we?
Yeah.
We got to be, haven't we?
Yeah, we are. So when you get the Forbes top 25 clubs in Europe and you see it listed and everything else, every other top club, foreign club in that 25 has won its league title. We've never done that. So how big we are is actually down to the fan base. We've made the club big, not not any of the owners, not anyone's made the club big. The fan base has made it big, and the fan base that strangely has got bigger in the last few years down to the move, when actually the football, apart from 2 seasons, well, a season and a half, depending on who you listen to, has been really dire as well. It's not been great there, has it? So it's been, funny enough, what we've expected over West Ham. So, and the thing I think Dave misses is he's come in, he says he wants to change the culture. The thing I took out from it is he claims to be a success. The only medal I can see he's ever got at football is the Freight Rover Trophy with Bristol City in 1986. He's not won anything as a manager. And
No.
and if he wants to bring West Ham to success, because what it is, and the one thing I did disagree with, he almost tried to claim taking West Ham to 6th and 7th was next level. It was like he was delivering on what the owners had pledged. Well, I'd hate to break it to you, Dave. We've done that at Upton Park, mate. That ain't next level. Yeah, we finished 7th in 2002 and got relegated in 2003. Actually, what we're going through now, we've done more than one occasion. So, I don't get it, but I don't get upset by him doing it. I find it interesting to listen to. I find it refreshing to actually hear the West Ham manager do an interview like that, in a way. The Alvarez thing, I can buy actually, because I didn't know who Alvarez was when he was playing for River Plate, and I bet no one else did. So to get upset because a year ago there was a player, when you think of the amount of players they get mentioned, and he's gone, you know, I think he says he's had a look, but didn't feel right about him. Stretches it a bit when he goes, we had Mickey Antonio, you know, and you think, hang on, Dave, you should have more than one. So I don't know how much Alvarez would have cost, whether it would have been a gamble. The
But
fact
is
it was
that not
coming
only-
from River Plate, it probably was worth a gamble, because at the end of the day, by not buying anyone,
City's taking a gamble, didn't they?
I don't know. Did City get him from River Plate? I
Yeah,
don't know
must have.
Alvarez's story.
But
And this
is
the
that
thing.
not an indictment on the setup that we've got Rob Newman to do? He says he wants to make a new West Ham. I get that. That was what
Yeah.
the move was for, so I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you get the guy that got Man City's players and he comes to you and says, I've got this Alvarez, and he says, no, I don't fancy him, well, you can say you're building a new West Ham, but you got the guys in to do it, and you ain't, mate.
No, he don't name. We're guessing. I'm guessing it's Newman as well. And we all know Man City have had a good scouting network in South America to be, and in Europe. I don't know, and it is strange then that if you bring this man in to oversee transfers, so then it would bring into question what is Newman's role. Because surely if he does say, this bloke we should be getting, then Moyes is sort of... I'm now looking at it, is he this old-fashioned manager that controls everything from top to bottom? Because West Ham's got to get away from that. The model should be that the club dictates who we bring in, buy and sell. And in a way, the appointment of Newman does smack a job for the boys. So he's Moyes' mate. They played at Bristol City, and you're thinking, well, that's a problem. And why it's a problem for us? Because if we sack Moyes, Newman's got to go then.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
And that then causes a vacuum up there, and it's like another. Even when the club think they're doing something right, typical of Karen Brady, great business person, has overseen this. It's another clusterfuck then. Because the idea, when you look at the clubs that are run well, our Brighton, Fulham and Brentford got to a position where
very quickly.
they've been in the every league. In the last 20 years, or 25 years, all 3 of those clubs have played Division 4 football, or Division 2 for the new listeners. Yeah, they've gone through all 4 leagues and are now looking like well-run clubs
Yeah.
with a plan. Brighton, it's coming home to roost now.
Yeah.
But Brighton wasn't Potter. Brighton,
Yeah.
Chelsea have taken. I listened to your Kieran Maguire podcast today, Sean.
Oh, did you?
And Chelsea, as he says, I didn't realise they took so many. I knew they took a couple of the. Didn't realise they took the scout, the goal. They've took all the backroom staff away from Brighton. And guess what? Brighton are doing even better.
Yeah, no, Brighton. Kieran's very happy because obviously he's a Brighton fan.
But then when
No, they went and got the Swallow manager, didn't they?
yeah, but what the thing about Brighton is, which I remember reading about when Potter was in charge, was Tony Bloom is like a computer man, algorithm man.
That's right.
He's developed this program, and he's
also
so
a
worried.
poker player, but
Yeah,
that's
but
another story.
he was so worried that people would, if he shared that algorithm or whatever, that then they got poached by a bigger club, they could take it with him. That he doesn't share it with them, and this is the thing that Chelsea are now finding out. Yeah, it ain't the coaches, it's the algorithm.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So
Anyway, it's not a Brighton podcast.
no, but what I'm saying is, but how have we got to this, Sean? And when you listen to the interview, it strikes home actually that it's funny because he says he wants to change West Ham. There's a part of me that thinks, yeah, it's good. We're still West Ham. We haven't died.
Did you learn anything from Kieran? Because Kieran gave a big bill of health for the finances, not on the pitch, but from the finances.
I'll tell you what
Did you
I
learn
learned.
anything?
I didn't think you could be more sycophantic. Right. Jesus Christ, Sean. I would love to listen to you interview David Sullivan because you blew so much smoke up that man's arsehole. I could only imagine what you would do to David Sullivan.
Hey, he's a prince of football finance.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've probably done Moyes to death now.
Cool, not much.
Unfortunately, not enough probably for those because he is.
Well, you know what? I've just, as you've been talking, I've just written another article to say, you know, he's safe. He's safe for Saturday, and I'll stick by that. You know, I've had so many calls from so many people going, and so many people going, bet suspended. He's gone. Wait for the announcement. Don't go to bed. The announcement's coming. Even AI Sean's just said that. So, should we go to? Is there anything else to say before we go to question time?
Nah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Time for this.
Hold up. Stop.
Put a question out.
One, we put a question out. Two, should we do predictions? Yeah.
Oh, you might want to do that. Please don't do predictions, please.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
and then
we're splitting it in two, are we? Okay.
well, that's the rules now.
That is your right. Yeah. No, we are at 62 minutes. So
And it does have other benefits.
yeah. So all right.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And
No,
it
no,
gives,
no.
if
Right.
people-
So predictions, John.
Oh,
Who are we playing again?
Everton.
it's only a little.
Big
little
fat
Zacchio.
Frank.
Yeah.
Big fat.
Can
big
you
fat
can you
Frank.
imagine? I'm gonna go for 0-0 draw.
You know what?
Oh
I
my
think,
God.
yeah.
You might be right there.
What would happen with a draw? Just sack him
I
after a draw?
Gone,
we'll get
mate.
sacked as well.
Gone.
They haven't gone. They'll be fighting over
Yeah,
Dash.
yeah, it could be. Imagine that both are sacked at the exact
Well,
same
no,
time. The
'cause,
bookies are going.
but I'll
Well,
tell
which
you
one
what-
went first?
Well, what I reckon is that Moyes will still have a job Saturday.
But Everton,
Yeah,
If they
you should
both-
go home with them.
He can just
they
jump
wouldn't.
on.
They wouldn't sack.
Jump in there, coach.
They wouldn't sack.
And Frank will be looking all awkward.
They wouldn't set Frank on the away in London, would they? And go, well, get your
Well,
own
he
way
lives,
home.
he
Well,
must
still lives in
live there.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine
Yeah.
they did like an Avram Grant on him and said, "You're not getting on the bus, Frank."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
lying.
was
gotta
gonna say,
make your own way.
who was it
And
they did that to? That was Grant, wasn't it?
Avram Grant, and he's just standing there looking at all the West Ham fans standing outside the gate.
Yeah.
Going, oh,
Waving.
I don't know if you saw.
Waiting for his Uber.
Talking about Kieran, I don't know if you saw the video I put up of David Gold being interviewed by Kevin Day from Price of Football. Did you see that?
I've watched it many a time. It's from 2011.
Oh right,
It
yeah.
is. And believe
Is
it or
that the
not,
seat one? Oh no, it's not.
he is
No.
in his seat and he's talking. He's watching the game. And guess who's
Yeah.
the manager at the time? It's
Sam
Avram Grant.
Allardyce.
No, it's
Oh,
Avram
was it?
Grant, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's Sam Allardyce.
Are you sure? He talks
Was
about
that not
Grant.
after relegation?
He talks about Grant in the.
Or perhaps it is.
Yeah.
Oh, is that not the one where he goes to Benny McCarthy? You're right, Benny. You lost a bit of weight.
Yeah, he does. That's exactly the one. It's a classic.
that did crack me
And
up.
do you know what? I didn't realise it was Kevin Day doing it until I heard his voice, and I went, "Hang on a minute," because I
Yeah.
listened to Price of Football. I went, "That's Kevin Day." There you go.
Yeah.
He has got another job. Right. So predictions. John's done his. Nigel.
I think we win. I
Ooh.
don't know if that keeps him in the job, but I think we win.
How much by?
1-0.
Okay. Len.
Souček header. Unless it's Dodsey, sorry, and then it's Souček. And Dodsey will know what I'm talking about.
Well, I did think the same as John, but if it's classic West Ham, we lose against Everton, don't we? So I'm going Everton win. I'm going West Ham 0, Everton 1, Scenes. Although I think it'll be a draw.
Well, I think, as it's a tribute to David Gold.
We definitely
I think that'll have a massive influence.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's quite. There's a lot. There will be a lot.
Because when he
announced.
died, they really played their eye out, didn't they?
I think the players will be up for this game.
Yeah, oh,
David Gold.
fucking hell. How many
And
times
West
you got to
Ham
die?
will win 442 goals to nil. 442.
Oh, Sean, you're just being stupid.
Oh, come on. All right, 4-0. 4-0.
4-0.
4-2. How about
Sean,
4-2?
have the club said anything about what they're doing to David Gold?
There is a lot planned, and
Is
they're
it
going
all
to make.
before the game?
I haven't got the details, but we will get the details soon.
I'm bringing my brother, and I just want to know:
Yeah.
do I need to stay at
Yeah.
the bar? Or
I'll
Stay at
let
the
you
bar,
know soon.
Nigel.
What-
Stay at the bar.
I don't want to be too.
No.
At the end of the day,
I'll let you know.
Let me know because I don't want no part of it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Um,
All right,
I don't really either.
You don't have to go anymore. That's it. That's fine.
I don't want to. You know, we could have a round of applause. I may pretend it's for something else.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to buy into it. You know.
Anyway,
I'm sure
John
he was
has
a nice
been.
man. Go on.
John has been.
Oh yeah, I've just been happy to be here as ever.
Len has been.
Angry.
As
People
ever.
like angry, Len.
And the miserable cunt of Nigel has been.
Oh, there you go.
Miserable what? What did you just say?
Unbelievable.
Can't. The miserable can't of Nigel.
Oh, right. I'm not miserable. I'm all right, thanks.
Bye.
What have he been then?
Whiny Sean, who's been whistling all the way through this with his.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
his
have.
boiler.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a. No,
That's his eating trying to work.
well, funny enough, just quick before we go, I got an invented plumber, right? So good news, he came on Thursday, right?
Good news for you.
But then I had to wait for a quote. So they put me up in a hotel on Saturday. Thank you very much. Nice suite in Hampton Court. But I then had to write to the CEO, chairman, and copy in the whole board until I could get the, the quote approved. And today, the unvented plumber came back and fixed the hot water. So I have hot water. But only one problem. I haven't got heating, and he says I've got to make another claim and start again to claim for the heating not working, even though it was damaged by the same water leak.
Brilliant.
Don't worry, Sean. It's not too cold.
It must be really hard when you just can't afford it, Sean, as well. It must be,
it's not. It's
so hard.
It's the principle of the matter. The insurance
It's
company. But
must be
anyway,
so
don't
difficult
worry
for
because
you.
I've got
I
the
don't know how you
CEO.
get by.
Because I've got the CEO involved. We've bypassed all the approval, and they're coming back tomorrow to fit the heating. In the meantime, I have been allowed to buy electric heaters on the insurance company, and I've bought them as well. So by next week we won't talk about plumbing again. Anyway, goodbye. You have to wait a little time.
The moral of the story
Question
is
time.
Sean is tight as a rat's
No,
arse.
it's not. Insurance policies are there for a reason. Bye.
Bobby Moore. More than just a podcast. Bobby Moore. More than just a podcast.